developing breeds of excellence.
Good day and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of the Soaring Eagles Talk Show. I am Grace Ada Okafor. This is January. Happy New Year once again. No better way to start the new year than talking about something very important. We all do New Year resolutions. Everybody say, "I will stop this. I'm going to take diet. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go on this plan. I'm going back to the gym and all of that." But it starts from one thing beyond the bubbles, the unseen cost of your comfort zone. John Asaraf said, the comfort zone is a beautiful place, amazingly, incredibly beautiful. The only challenge is nothing grows there. With this introduction, please make welcome our guest for today. Please, ma'am, may we meet you?
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Priska Anyalewechi.
Okay, you are someone I've known off camera, and I know that there are cadres to your introduction. It's not just you don't do one thing, you're multifaceted and multidimensional, like I always know and I say, and you're just the best fit for this today's topic beyond the bubble, the cost of the unseen cost of leaving your comfort zone, because you are a living episode. You practicalize this thing, and it's not just a theoretical or just head knowledge about the comfort of about the unseen cost of leaving your comfort zone. Have you always had everything, at your beck and call, at the snap of your finger, and just having been born out of a silver spoon? If you were born out of a silver spoon, do you care to share just a personal story of this leaving your comfort zone before we even start?
Well, comfort zone, as we all know, or we might not have known, is a state where a person feels safe, feels in control. And the truth is that I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I am a product of learnings because I am passionate about learning. I am passionate about growth. And God strategically positioned people who helped me and are helping me through the process of growth. So one area I'll talk about is the fact that I am a graduate from French and a linguist by profession. However, because of the passion to grow, I didn't just stay in languages.
Okay.
I have moved from languages. I have gone into special needs. I have gone into trainings. I have gone into, yes, presentations and
Tourism,
report
please don't forget to
writing and
mention.
tourism.
And then
Yes.
you mentioned trainings. I wanted to say capacity building trainings you've
Yes,
held.
so
Yeah.
I just didn't sit in one place because we live in a world where if you want to make progress, growth is one thing that must be your focus as an individual.
Exactly. I love the fact that you did not build, yeah, you built a niche, but you didn't relax there. And language, as anyone know, is something that requires a lot. So being a master in this doesn't mean you just keep building portfolios, but then you have to diversify to maximize other potentials. Prior to that time when you started, you never knew you had. That's amazing. So you mentioned that something important about the definition. I just want you to throw more light on that. You said comfort zone is a place where you feel safe. Who doesn't want to feel safe? Who
That's
wants
true.
the hustle and the bustle of any, what do they call it? In cos something city like that. But the question is, me being safe, what is it a problem? What exactly is the definition of this comfort zone? Because if it's just a place where I feel safe, I want to feel safe. So what else is a definition you can attach to this?
Well, just to throw more light on that definition, right? When we talk of comfort zone, first of all, it's not a physical location.
Okay.
It's fundamentally a mental and an emotional location or a state of mind, a state of being where a person feels safe, where a person feels in control. The truth about life is that as individuals, everybody wants to be sure that they can put they can put the bits and pieces together. Nobody wants to live in uncertainty. So it's just a form of a frame of mind or a situation where you just know that, Kai, you want to be okay. But it has its downside.
Which we would come to.
Yes.
Which
So,
we would
okay,
come
let me
to.
just stop
I
there.
really appreciate that you are making this thing. You're very practical as possible. It starts from the mind, which is something new into this world, because everyone feels like it's what is manifested that they can hold, that is tangible. But you said it's not just a physical geography, the location, but even in the mind. So it is irregardless of my age, my
Yes, of
status, where I
course.
am.
Of
I
course.
can be comfort in this mind and there's no growth. I
Of
still
course.
remain stuck and
Of
stagnant.
course.
So what are the characteristics of a comfort zone? How do I know that, oh my God, so I am in a comfort zone?
Okay. The truth is that when we talk of comfort zone, sometimes there are things we do, we start out as an adventure, but over time it becomes a comfort zone because there isn't any growth, there isn't any progress. You have grown into a level and you just feel okay. And some of the things that make you know that this place is a comfort zone is, when you are familiar with the terrain, you're familiar with your routines, there is low risk there. You can predict your activities. Everything is predictable. There's no risk, there's no stress. So you know that at that point now you are in your comfort zone.
No challenge.
No, the challenge is very minimal.
Okay.
The risks are minimal. Everything, you just are in control. You can figure your way around the boundaries of what happens to you. So you know that at this point now, you're in a comfort zone.
That's a terrible place to be at. I think so.
Well, when you stay there for too long, it
Okay.
becomes terrible. Not that it's terrible in it's in itself, but when you stay there for too long, we as human beings, we are made or created to evolve, to grow, because our potentials remain untapped. As we advance, as we make progress, as we interact with people, we come in contact with opportunities that help us to grow. And our Father, being a God of growth, a God of development, a God of progress, expects us to be. That's the only way really we can fulfill our potential. But being in one place, we cannot fulfill
He wasn't
much.
even a God of one thing.
Aha.
He isn't. I said he wasn't. He isn't a God of one thing.
Aha.
Why do you think people are comfortable? Because this is a new insight for me that, oh my goodness. So, okay, when I've mastered a particular terrain and I'm comfortable staying with it, a new challenge come and I can tackle it. You said something on tapped potentials. And these potentials, I guess they are inexhaustible in as much as we are in this flesh, in as much as we are man. So why do you think a lot of people, I'm speaking to myself as well as our audience listening, and we are like, and the question is, the question I'm throwing to you right now is, why do you think many people feel comfortable just staying there? Why?
Okay. A whole lot. I'll just speak to you and talk about them. One is fear. Fear of the unknown. See, like I said earlier, nobody wants to be taken unaware. Everybody wants to know that they are in control. They are able to dot their I's. They are able to cross their T's at every point in time. So one thing that makes people build a comfort zone around them, right? That's your question. Is fear. They don't want to step out. Fear of stepping out because you don't know what lies ahead. Right? Then the second reason why people build comfort zones around them is because of past experiences.
Oh yeah.
Past experiences has a way of just making you build. Let me give a practical example, and this is something many people are familiar with and aware of.
Okay.
When it comes to the issue of relationship. See, there was a time because of a number of failed relationship, I just said to myself, see, I'm not doing this again. I just built a wall around myself because I wanted security, I wanted safety. I don't want anyone to come and begin to turn my life upside down. So at that point, that past experience made me build a hedge around my emotion, around myself. So anything that I want to bring someone very close, and when I know that it's headed towards this direction, I tell myself, see this, it can't work. Let's just leave it, okay? Let's maintain friendship because I don't want to have a reoccurring experience
To
of
scratch an old
pain.
wound.
Yes. So
Yeah.
two things that I would say now: fear
Fear,
and past experiences make people
that were
build comfort zone.
unpalatable,
Yes.
unpalatable ones. Why now is sorry, I don't know why I keep laughing because you said you view the hedge. Anyway, sorry. I wanted to ask, do people know they do this or how do they do it intentionally or unintentionally? I really want to take you back to this place of the mind. I really believe, someone I hold dear, someone I listened very keen to, Apostle Selman. He said everything you see built has been built twice. First of all, in the
Yes.
mind, and the second physical thing you can see. So I want to take us back there, like, because you started well by mentioning it was in the mind. So how do I even know I'm doing this? Either consciously, in your case you said whenever you notice it, then you, oh, where are the gates, where are the gatekeepers? Okay, but then some people do it unconsciously. And then I wanted to also add into this by saying the by building these hedges, isn't one seen as being myopic, being, oh, because of 1, 2, 3, then you think that's all there is in 1 million, 7 billions, and all of that. So how do I know that I'm not doing this thing? How do I know that I'm doing this consciously or unconsciously? How is it created?
Okay. See, it's a comfort zone is created both consciously and unconsciously. For example, I give a practical example of past experience. You see, sometimes when a person has a checkered history of troubled experiences, unconsciously they build defensive mechanism. Unconsciously that plays out. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Then sometimes our daily routines and habits
Interesting.
build comfort zones or help to just build a comfort zone around us. Most times we don't know. It begins unconsciously till it becomes till it becomes a thing that is seen and manifested. And other times people are intentional. So there are both ways. Sometimes it's unconscious, sometimes it's conscious. However, one thing remains key. Just to reiterate what you said earlier, you see, everything begins from the mind, whether you're aware or not aware. Do you know that, to explain this further, you know that sometimes when you are doing something, your mind can on its own just divert and go into something else entirely different. That is why someone said that you don't counter thoughts with thoughts, you counter thoughts with words. So our
Awesome.
minds, okay, is developed on its own. Our minds can do a lot of things by itself, whether we are conscious or not. So that is one of the reasons why comfort zone, since it's a mental and emotional thing, is either intentional or unintentional. I don't know if I've done justice to your
Very,
question.
very well, very well. You hit the nail on the head. Everything that has a disadvantage has an advantage. Some
Of
advantage,
course.
some. So what are disadvantages?
Well, a comfort zone helps you to be comfortable. Yep. It
Okay.
gives you a level of confidence. When you know that you're in control, definitely you are confident because no one can tell you is when you know it was. So
Yeah.
it gives you a level of confidence, a level of stability, a level of peace and control.
And everyone, like you said, no one wants to be taken unaware.
Of course.
No one wants to go out of the house and see that, oh my goodness, I never thought about this. You want to have everything in control.
Exactly.
As a mother, as a father, as an entrepreneur, as a professional in your field, you just don't want someone to tell you, oh no, you've not mastered this. You want to dot your I's and cross
Cross
all
your
your
T's.
T's.
As an individual,
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
wants to be in control of their lives, of the things that happen to them, of the things that happen around them.
So if there are advantages, why should I step out of my comfort zone? I want to be in charge. I want to master this. Why should I now step out of the comfort zone I love?
So, in one word, the disadvantage is limitation.
Oh.
When a person doesn't step out into new terrains, you don't even know what potentials you have. You don't know what possibilities lie ahead. You don't know a level you can attain. So
Okay.
one major disadvantage of remaining in the comfort zone is limitation, limited growth, limited potential, limited access to opportunities, limited everything. So you see, if you want to remain at one level for the rest of your life, you could just as well remain in your comfort zone where you're in charge, in control, you don't disturb nobody, nobody disturbs you, and you're just good.
But that's not, especially not just, I want to say for young people, but I believe everyone can grow, and growth, education, learning never ends. So that is one, I don't think anyone would like to be stuck in one place. And the only thing you know is this. When we go out of this, you don't know nothing. It's a terrible place to be in.
And we are in a world that is ever evolving. Let's not forget that. You see, today you may be a master in your field and forgetting that the world is evolving. By the time you come out, you realize that everyone has moved ahead. Everyone has made progress, and you are still at that level. Now, it leads to a level of frustration. It leads to depression because you're trying to find a way to catch up. But the world has moved. The train has just gone. So it's important we are aware that the world is ever moving. The world is ever evolving. Even the same thing you do,
there are better ways.
There are better ways to do it. You need to know the better ways. When we talk of evolving and growth or evolution, as the case may be, we're not talking about you learning everything. You cannot be a jack of all trades.
And master all.
And master of all or none. There is something we all have been wired to do. However, the things we learn, the skills we learn, helps us to become better at doing that which we have been ordained or designed to do. So when we don't maximize those opportunities, by the time we come, we realize that, oh, the world has evolved, and we risk losing our relevance. Because when there are better ways of doing things and you're still in the 80s while others have moved, how do you intend to be relevant in a world that has moved? Before, we know that power was in the muscles, but at some point power moved from the muscles to the mind. Now you talk about work. Now there is smart work. You can't be using a typewriter today when there is ChatGPT doing a whole lot. So that is the thing. We need to keep in step with the trends of time.
Even one step ahead, regardless of whatever, regardless of the challenge. Someone will say, well, I live in the village. Well, I don't live in big cities. Well, I'm not Japad.
That is why, or that is the reason why this thing we're talking about is a mental thing. And I love what Apostle Joshua Selman said some time ago. He said something, sometimes your physical condition may not be it. You may be living in a
third world nation. Not
third world nation. Possibly you're living in a box, or you're living in a very small...
He jokingly usually say, in fact, your village is not in the map.
Yes, he says things like that. Or your house is nothing to write home about. It's as small as a dog's cage. But in your mind, you have moved. What happens is that your situation, the cosmos is orchestrated to move you from that position to where you ought to be, because in your mind, you are evolving.
You're not there.
And I've seen that happen countless of times. Let me share a practical experience. There was a time I was saying to myself, you see, I'm not in this level again. When people say, "How you're looking good," I say, yes, so because I've moved. I'm not in this level. I am in that level where I'm traveling from place to place.
Yes.
I kept saying it. And sometimes when you ask me, how would this be? I didn't know how it's going to be.
When your mind is done,
but in my mind,
settled.
Yes, I've moved. I've moved. I'm moving from place to place, stressless. As in, life should be just easy. But then I am evolving. And the funny thing was that everything, situations aligned themselves to make that thing in my mind come to pass. So I'm a living testament of this truth, that once you move in your mind, sometimes we think that this whole thing are theories.
No, they aren't.
But they aren't theories. Once you move in your mind, situations, the earth will align itself to move you to where your mind is. So your body would eventually meet your mind.
This is hitting someone as a new thing, and he's saying these people have gone crazy. They've never believed. No, what I need is a passport. What I need is a capital. What I need, and you are saying it should start here, feed here, and all of these things will happen. And someone is looking at you and saying, and the person is saying, I don't believe what you're saying. How? Which is my next question. I want to move out of my comfort zone. I am even trying. I am taking classes. I'm taking, someone says skill set and I want to say mental sets. Mental set. I'm doing all of this, but why is it difficult? Why is it difficult? I thought if you said I do this, bag another degree, learn a new skill, meet my uncle, network, attend seminars, workshops. I do all of this. Why is it still hard for me to move? I think yours took just the snap of a finger, maybe. So why is mine difficult? Why am I finding it difficult to, step out of my comfort zone?
This is quite deep. I don't know where to start responding to this question from, but let me try and see what I can do. There are many reasons why people are not making progress.
Okay.
There are lots of reasons. Let's look at some of the physical reasons.
Okay.
Sometimes we are doing this, doing that, and we feel we are not making the needed progress.
But you said we should tap all our potentials a minute ago.
We, of course. But see, there is a process to everything in life.
Okay.
That is one. Secondly, there are things that are earmarked or earmarked to happen at certain times. Thirdly, there is a level of refinement that will give you the access you need. So it's really not about, or growth or building has to be systematic. You can't, today you're doing this, okay, because they say maximize your potential or build skills. Today you're here, tomorrow you're there, next tomorrow you're there. No, growth is systematic. If you must see the evidence or the result of what you're building, it has to be systematic in nature. So, having said that, we needed to give ourselves time, especially if you're a person who is pro-growth, open to learning. Because sometimes there is this thing as human beings, we believe that we want to do it the way we want to do it, how we want to do it. You think this should be the way, this should be the way. However, it now leads me to saying mentorship is important. Because when you're growing, you must have a clear picture of really what you want. You must understand what it will cost you to get there, what you need to know to get there. So you are building with clarity. Clarity, very important. And then having mentorship, the willingness to adjust when necessary. Sometimes the truth is that it's difficult for people to adjust. I am here. I am doing this like this. It has to continue like this. It has to remain like this. Now and forevermore, world without end. Amen. But it doesn't always work like that. I have a mentor. And if tomorrow she tells me, she's a mother, she's a mentor. If tomorrow she tells me, I think you should do this like this. For me, because I would say her current reality is my future aspiration. So it's a bit clear for me. And so if she's doing this, and she tells me, I think you should do this like this. I say, okay.
That's clarity.
Okay. If she is saying this, I've worked with her for more than 10 years and I'm still with her. So I shouldn't see a reason why she gives a suggestion, because she's well-read. Oh God, she's a university. I always say that. She's a university. That's Pastor Blessing Wecha. She's a university. If she tells me, do this like this, I just launch in because I've worked with her. She knows a lot of things about me and she just has a way of telling me what will position me. So it helps me to build systematically. That's why I said mentorship is very important. It's not just about doing everything haphazardly. So that is important. And then the willingness to adjust where necessary. So I think, I don't know if I've done justice to your question or if you have something else you need to...
Yeah, you have.
Because sometimes when things don't work physically, most times as Christians, forgive my bias a bit, we tend to take things to the spiritual angle. Possibly the village people, they are at it again, the calabash,
my enemies.
they are shaking this calabash now. But sometimes there are just little adjustments we need to look into, and the needed assignments or homeworks where necessary, and then give time. You don't expect to start something now and it grows today and then
Good of sharp.
it doesn't work like that. Everything in life requires time.
Process.
Because yes, we live in a world that is ruled and governed by time. So there is a time and a process to everything. So having done all that, you know that your I's are well dotted, your T's are well crossed.
Okay.
Then you can look into other angles.
I really cannot undermine, like you mentioned, the role of a mentor, a coach. We deal with young people. We are young people, and in a world where everyone want to be her boss, it's even propagated like own your thing, know your own, master your stuff, do this and that. And you are telling me to submit myself under a immortal, under a someone who is flawed, under a human being, and I want to submit myself under God. These are young people who say this. You hear someone who, as a young man, is looking to settle down, and he doesn't have no authority he submits himself under. And you're a girl, he wants to drag you into his home, that home of school of thought. Or this is a young lady who is a boss on her own, and with quite some level of achievement here and there, you tell her to submit under someone. It's strange. You also mentioned past experiences and all of that, and maybe lack of confidence, when I mean confidence, keeping things in confidence, like you share your vulnerabilities with a mentor, with a coach, with a this, that, and you see it on newspaper, you see it on someone's lips. You might want to stress the need to have someone in your life, an authority you submit to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, truth is that mentors are like mother eagles.
Okay.
And their presence in a person's life gives you stability, it gives you direction. Even God placed people to lead people. God himself does not do something, or does always, let me rephrase, sorry. God always leaves a witness for us to see, a pattern to follow. God is a God of patterns, and he works with patterns. That is why even the Bible says, follow those who through faith and patience obtained the promise. God knows the importance of following. That is why he emphasized it. There is a need for following. When he called Abraham, he had a picture in mind. He had a picture or a pattern he wanted to replicate, through whom the earth will be blessed, through whom the earth will understand what it means to have a relationship. That was why he brought Adam into the picture. There was a place he said that, I know this one. When he was, the angels met Abraham, forgive me, Abraham, at they were on their way to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy it, and as the angels went further, God stayed to speak with Abraham. And then he said, I know Abraham because he's going to teach his descendants to walk in my way. Now, God had mentorship in mind, because mentorship has to do with teaching, has to do with guiding, has to do with coaching, training, directing. So it helps to minimize your error as a person, because you don't have to learn everything through experience. It's painful to have to learn everything, gain your own experiences. By the time you arrive, you would have been too broken to want to move, to want to achieve.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's the thing. Most times we feel, okay, it's difficult, it's painful, it's ego that actually make a lot of people not submit. Because as long as you're in this life, there is a hierarchy. Even in marriage, God has made it that a woman should submit to the husband. That is the pattern. The way the man submits to Christ, and Christ being our model, submits to God even though he was God. Because God wants us to see the pattern so that we can follow, for our lives to be easier and better. I used to ask myself, why will I stress myself going through a whole lot when I have someone who would just tell me what to do, and I would just avoid costly and unnecessary mistakes and experiences. They've gone through those experiences for me. I just need to learn from it and move faster, soar faster, achieve faster. That's the idea of a mentor who carries you on their wing. They tell you, okay, I've gone through this. You don't have to go through this. This is what I have done. These were my failures. These were my mistakes in the past. You don't have to go through them. So it helps you, it minimizes your error. It helps you know what you should do per time. It gives you clarity, because mentorship does. And sometimes, to be very honest, there are certain decisions. Now, this is personal and private, but I just need to share it so that people know this. There are certain decisions that honestly I don't take on my own. I say to myself, why do I need to stress myself thinking of what to do? Well, I can just call my mentor and just ask her, what do you think about this? And this person has a track record. Because that's also another thing. Another thing for young people possibly experiences, they don't submit to people because they've tried submitting to people and they were victims of a whole lot. Like you said, someone just shares something in confidence with someone, and tomorrow you just see it on social media. Oh my God, it's disheartening. However, it tells you that the truth is that in the midst of wolves, there are still sheep. In the midst of serpents, there are still angels. In the midst of the fake 200 naira note, there are still originals. The fake tells you the presence of the original. Because you can't have, sorry, I digressed a bit. It's just to further elaborate. You can't have a fake 300 naira note because an original 300 naira note does not exist in the first place. So you have people who are actually fake, who are wolves in sheep clothing.
Because there are sheep.
Because there are sheep. You have devils incarnate because there are angels. So they only try to hide themselves in these characteristics. But then to that person who is heartbroken because you were once a victim of brutal experiences from a so-called mentor, please don't feel discouraged. Life is full of a whole lot. However, there are still good people, and there is still someone out there who God has assigned to help and hold your hands and guide you into that destiny you have been called to fulfill, to accomplish, and to be a part of. So don't get discouraged. You can still find someone good, but you need to also test the waters. You don't just see someone, which is also a weakness of our young people today. You don't see someone today because you like the person's appearance, the person's demeanor, and you start telling the person your life's history. It doesn't work like that. Mentorship is a relationship. You must build trust, and you begin little by little. Share little things, little insignificant things, to see how the person reacts to it or responds to it. That will help you build a trust or a level of relationship with that person that will warrant you opening up yourself to that person. Everything will be all right at the end of the day.
It will. And not just anyone just anywhere is a mentor. I've always had this bias. I stand to be corrected. I always had this bias, especially for like ministries who the pastor, the man of God, the pastor, the husband is called into ministry, and then all of a sudden his wife becomes a marriage counselor. How?
Well,
Because Papa is a man of God, then she automatically. I've always had this, and you sit under them. You have read books, you have attended seminars, you've spoken with married people, you've had some level of knowledge, and you sit under this. The only sorry to say, the only thing that makes them want to talk is because they are in the system, and all they know is just theirs. So I've really had, that's why when you were saying it would be fine and all of that, seeking who is your mentor, it's not just anyone. It can't just be just anyone simply because he's older or he's in this field or this. It can never just be anyone. You mentioned adjusting. And I wanted to say one of the NLP presuppositions was that the person with the most flexibility controls the system. And with our, because I've known you for, I want to say my life started when I met you. So I'm always saying I've known you for all my life. There's this thing you always say. You always say the neck turns the head. That's the flexibility. The head, as big as it is, without the neck, is just sitting there. And this flexibility, you say, that turns the system. So now this is the question that I want to ask. Here is someone who is giving excuses, and these days, so that they sound responsible. They call it reasons. They are excuses. Someone said excuses are the nails in which the house of failure was made. So what excuses do people make? Do people give? Why they can't step out of their comfort zone?
Okay, before I respond to that, let me just quickly say this. See, with regards to mentorship, please just know that as an individual, you can have different mentors for different areas of your life. One person cannot be your mentor everywhere, because everybody is good at something. And if you know that there is a drawing towards a particular area of life, someone is good at that thing. He cannot be your mentor in this one, in that one, in that one, except that person is good in more than one thing. So you can have more than one mentors. So back to the question, because we're still talking of on comfort zone and the excuses people give. They give a lot. Okay. I'm not too I'm not too ready for this. I am not too, this is not my area. This is not what I can do. This is not for me. There are just a lot of flimsy things. This is not, I don't think. Do you get it? There are excuses people give.
There are reasons.
Or the reasons. Possibly, it's not my field. When you tell someone, why don't you, possibly in an office, someone who is the accountant, you tell the person, so please, I need you to learn a little about data, this, how to do this, or project management.
No, I'm not in the IT department.
I'm not in the IT department. It's not my field. So this is one of it. They feel that remaining in their field makes them relevant. Unfortunately, we are in a world where your relevance actually is determined by certain things, rare things you know. And so they ask you in an interview, what can you do? If at the end of the day, the only thing you know how to do is accounting,
what you applied for.
What you applied for. What other skills do you have? They want to see if you are usable, not in the negative light, but you are serviceable in that you can be used, or you can be very useful in any area, and you are flexible. But when people remain, it's not my field, is a reason why they remain there. They're afraid, hey, this thing, I cannot do this thing. Hey, this one now is
I heard it is.
Yes. So these are some of the reasons people give to prevent it. Or they say, I'm too old for this thing. This is for the young generation. You've not heard people say that? Of course.
I thought learning never ends.
No. For some people, learning has ended. They've graduated
from the school of learning.
This one now is for my children to continue.
Oh my.
Or they had a skill.
I thought that's death while you're still alive.
Of course it is, but they didn't know. Or there's a skill they were exploring when they were much younger. Some people use marriage also as an excuse. See, I'm married now. This thing now is for the young girls. Of course. There are skills they are exploring. Possibly the lady was into music, but now she got married. Family responsibilities.
So she sings to her husband.
No, she doesn't even sing at all. Family responsibilities. And then someone who was in choir with her, Sister Dora, I thought you used to be in the music. You had something for music. I said, well, right now, I'm married now. Lots of responsibilities. And I heard someone said something. Say, when you get married, you will understand. I said, dear Lord, what the heck? Are you for real? So those kinds of
Actually,
excuses.
that was how the bed was laid.
Those kinds of excuses.
Yeah.
There is, from the beginning, there wasn't movement or progress mindset. Now there is a saying that, see, at all costs, keep moving. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but at all costs, keep moving. But because that mindset, they feel marriage is the bus stop. I have just arrived. So every other thing they were doing before marriage has to stop or has to end. So now they are married. What their focus is just, let me raise my children, let me get a job 9 to 5, and the potentials or skills they had are left untapped. So marriage is an excuse.
Or bagging a master. Some people want to stop at master's level.
Yes.
Some just want to be called doctor.
Yes.
And that's all. Any other thing, me start from scratch after all I've gone through in uni, no. It wasn't, I don't know. Anyway, we'll delve into another topic.
It's fine.
Oh my God. What is necessary when one finds oneself stuck in one's comfort zone? What's the necessary thing to do when you find yourself stuck
in your comfort? 2 things I'll talk about. 1 is courage.
Oh.
Courage, as the saying goes, is not the absence of fear, not the absence of fear, but the conquest. Lots of people lack courage to move because they are afraid. I've not done this thing before.
What if?
What if I fail? What if I am rejected? What if I am not able? So the what ifs end up overwhelming the little possibility. There is something they call analysis paralysis. You analyze that thing with a lot of what if, the negativities, the potential, not that they are, but they are potential because they are birthed in your mind.
Yeah.
The potential negativities or possibilities of that thing not coming to pass or fruiting. So that thing become paralyzed because a lot of analysis has just gone around. That is one.
Yeah.
That courage, the lack of it, get people to remain there. So if a person finds himself in a comfort zone, to move from that place, you first of all need courage. And courage, you need to talk to yourself, 1. You need to hear things that would stir you up.
Exactly.
It brings me to the second point, which is willingness to move. See, our lives, the progress we are to make in life are first of all our responsibility. You are responsible to rise up and take the first step before God can help you.
Exactly.
Because your rising up is faith in manifestation. Your willingness to want to make progress is also faith in manifestation. So courage is one thing, willingness to move. And let me just add another thing, which is important to help people move. I've discovered that a lot of people trivialize their small progress, their little progress, their small wins. They trivialize it. And you were able to carry 1 big bucket of water. It's just 1 big bucket of water. You were able to learn, even on the phone, you were able to learn how to take snapshots. I'm looking at things that are very insignificant and minute. You're able to learn how to use Canva to do a design. It's just, you don't celebrate that thing. The inability to celebrate your small wins will just keep you stuck. You feel you're not moving. But if a person gets stuck, 1, courage, willingness to move, and know that every little step you make counts. You need to tell yourself that.
Yeah, we trivialize these things. We feel it's just. Wow.
Nothing is just, because there's a scripture that I've always read that blew my mind. I think sometime in September, when I was in the midst of a whole lot of uncertainties. Lord, what do I do? What do I do? And should I start something? Because I had just transitioned from one season into another. And I was asking myself, so what, Lord, what next? Should I start up this thing that I had stopped or I allowed to lay fallow for a long time and all that? In the midst of that confusion, where do I start from and all that? Then this famous scripture in Zechariah chapter 4, right? I believe. I'm sorry if I misquote, but then this is it. The Bible says, do not despise the days of little beginning, for the Lord rejoices to see your work begin. That particular phrase, I got it differently. The Lord rejoices. So God rejoices in our little wins. So who are we not to rejoice and celebrate our little wins?
That is massive. I mean, this is mind blowing. It is huge. We don't know what we have. We don't know who we are. We don't know the progress we've made. It's easy to see a child who was crawling now begin to stand. But for us, we don't know that we were crawling yesterday and now we are standing. I want to move out of my comfort zone with all you've said. I'm ready to imbibe these principles, not just to have them as technical know-how, but then to also make them happen. How can I be helped out of my zone of ease? How can I be helped out of this zone of ease?
How can you be helped?
You might want to also mention my people, because I this is me now speaking. How when this mind start growing, this mind start evolving, what happened to those my circle of friends? They were our Friday nights, we know what we do. We are Saturday. How can I be helped? Now I want to move. I didn't listen to this episode or this podcast or this talk show with a friend. I listened to it on my own, and you were speaking to me directly. You were talking to me. In my family, everyone is where I am and we're comfortable. But now I've heard you. I want to move. How can I step out? How can I be helped out of this zone of ease as an individual, not as a body?
You know, this question is pregnant with a whole lot. So let me see. First of all, you need to know, or you need to accept the fact that, okay, I've been in my comfort zone for too long. Because the truth about life is that if you don't accept what the current reality is, you can't move. Even if or someone is telling you,
you don't see,
yeah. But as long as you see it yourself, that is the first and fundamental step.
Yeah.
You need to know, you need to accept, you need to admit that, okay, I have been in my comfort zone for a long time now.
Yeah.
Now, having admitted that fact, you know, sometimes this admittance comes with two phases or two feedbacks.
Okay.
The first could be a feeling of discouragement. I've lost years. So what have I spent my time doing? Discouragement, depression, frustration.
Self-punishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve any problem.
Okay.
The second one for some people is that,
Okay. Way forward.
let me hit the road running. So for someone who gets to that place where you feel that you've wasted years, you've wasted time and all that, and that river of discouragement or depression is about to drown you. See, your morning has just dawned because you have known and realized. The truth is that there are people who will never get to this point until they die. But you have gotten to that point. This is a major step and the foundation to the new you that is about to be birthed. Because every new thing or every building needs a foundation. So admittance is the first foundation. So you need to be grateful. Know that that point is the point that is needed for any progress. And it's not too late. It is just your time that has arrived. Having understood that, the next thing would be to ask yourself vital questions. So now, what do I want? What new skill do I want to learn? What level do I want to get to? Because it's important to ask that question, because it will help you birth clarity about what it is. If you don't know what it is, you wouldn't know how to
You will flow with the tide.
Yes.
Yeah.
So knowing what it is also crucial. So now that you know this is it, you've come to that point of realization. The next question that you must
How?
answer is what it is I want to. What is the level? What is the next thing I want to do or achieve in life? Then having understood that, you would need to ask yourself another question. So who, because there you don't really know
The
what
way
to,
out. Yeah.
how, because you're just stuck. So who is the symbol of this picture?
Awesome.
Because you would need mentorship.
You were
Truth
going
is that
back
you
to
need
mentorship.
someone to guide your hand because you didn't know. Every child needed guidance to even take the first step. If you had had knowledge, had experiences, it's a different ballgame. But the person who didn't know at all, you would need to know, one, that you need guidance.
Yeah.
So who is the current reality of my future aspiration? When you've identified that, that would help you know how. Or you could ask yourself, so what do I need to do? What do I need to do? If I want to become a this, what are the things? You set goals. Setting those goals, these are the things I need to do, these are the things I need to do. And when setting goals, we've always learned that goal has to be smart.
Yeah.
It should not be vague. Okay, for me to move now, I want to become an accountant, or I want to learn a skill, or I want to be a programmer, I want to be a tech guru. To learn what area of tech, because tech is very wide.
Yeah.
If it is programming, if it is the one that you feel this is it,
analysis.
you specify it and give it a time. I want to do this or learn this within this year or by the end of
It
2026.
should be realizable. I was waiting for you to break down the
I'll
acronym.
break it down. I'm just, if you're setting your goal, there are certain elements that must be part of that statement you're making. Okay, to learn graphic design by the end of 2026. Now, that goal is smart already because you have specified what it is. There is a time attached to it, so you know you don't have forever. Because there are some people say, I want to learn graphic design. No time. 2 years, 3 years,
still want to.
they're still in want to. But once you have attached a time to it, now the goal is smart, specific. How do you measure this thing now? You've just enrolled
in
cybersecurity. Yes, you have just enrolled in something that would give you that will be the premises for what you're doing. You have enrolled. Now you're measuring that goal by that action you have just started taking now.
Yeah.
Realistic. The goal is realistic because it's something you have picked out and you have given a time frame. If you say, I want to learn about technology, it's not realistic because there are various domains in technology. So, but if you say graphic design within 6 months, it's realistic because you have picked it. So now you measure it by the steps you are taking to be able to achieve this goal. And this goal automatically is achievable because it's realistic, it is specific, and it's time bound. So the SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, achievable,
realistic,
action oriented. That A. R, realistic, and T,
time bound.
Time bound.
Amazing conversations we've been having so far. I wanted to say something about, you mentioned something key. Pick someone that is the symbol of who you want to become. Let me delve into entertainment, for example. So you want to be an artist, you want to be a musician, you want to be a model, you want to be an actress, and then you pick someone who you have no contact to, no access to, and you really, based on your level and where that person is far, and that person will mentor you. How? That's another thing. In picking a mentor, before I respond to this thing you just said, see, as a person, you must know your values. At the end of the day, what we really have as individuals are our values, who we are, what we stand for. Because when the chips are down, these are the things that will help us remain strong, remain firm. What your values are. What are my values as a person? I value truth. I value, integrity.
I value, these are my principles I live by. Truth, integrity, I live by. Truth, right, integrity. I will, let me just pick those two. If you know that and you have a high moral standard, if you're choosing someone in the entertainment world, for example, that person must align with who you are. The person must not contradict your value as a person. He must or she must not contradict your value. Now, back to your question. In picking a mentor, see, in as much as mentorship is good, you have someone who affects your life through the media, through this, but you need a physical, in that environment where you are, there must be someone that mentorship is not complete if there is no physical contact and meetings. Mentorship is not complete. So it's good to have mentors far. It's good to have mentors
But those are
who
role
affect you.
models when you don't have a one-on-one contact with them. You want to aspire to be like they're your role model. You want to aspire, but mentorship, one-on-one session. This is you and this person. I think we should know this clear difference. I attended, sorry to interject.
Okay.
I attended this, it was done by Pastor Poju Oyemade of the Covenant Nation. I really love what he do every 1st of October. Every 1st of October. The last one was the Platform Nigeria. The Platform Nigeria, but the one I attended was the Platform Africa. And he brought people, there was one from Botswana, from Kenya, from Nigeria, from where we different people. And once, the Ivorian woman, this was what she said. She said something very practical. So some of you will see me speak like this and you will run, I want to be how can she be your mentor? She said, look for people in your circle. There are still some people you look up to. You also mentioned someone may not mentor you in every area of your life. So you are a multifaceted being and then you do a lot of things. So in this area where this person is already, the picture you have in your mind, you can start there.
Yes.
And you must not, I imagine I want to be an actress tomorrow and then I want Funke Akindele to mentor me. How can she mentor me? How? And then we undermine the people. Let me start from, let's say, our church, or let's start from this auntie. We feel we are bloodly related, so she may not be professional. Who tell you? I believe God placed people significantly in designated positions in our life where these are our go-to persons for XYZ, and at certain phases of our life, our relationship, the transaction with them, not that it comes to an end because we don't burn the bridge, but then God is saying, move over, and this is the person he has made for you at certain levels. So that flexibility you keep talking about, you keep mentioning it, is something that goes, they are just so intertwined. I wanted you to please stress this because young people, me, is Cristiano Ronaldo. How?
Okay, now, talking about it, there are actually people who are mentored through others via their books, their materials. So there is this distant mentorship. So a person's book, I know of someone who has physical mentors. However, Dr. Miles Muro of the blessed memory is his mentor. He has almost all of Dr. Miles' book.
And his messages.
So now that is a form of mentorship.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that he doesn't have a physical person who is his go-to person. Do you get it? So people distant can be, but also, people distant and close can be role models. But a person can be mentored by someone from afar. However, when mentorship is most effective, when there is a physical person, a role model too can be a physical person you see, you interact with, and you have a relationship with. So, having a mentor who is in Jamaica and you are in
across the Atlantic,
Asia doesn't really make sense, because the idea of mentorship is guidance, and you don't guide a person without holding the person's hand. You need someone who can be able to look at you in the face and say, sit down. Who can be able to tell you are wrong, who can be able to tell you stop it when you are going a bit out of order, someone who can bring you to order, and someone who you could say yes to. Yes, sir. Whether drop your own ideologies like hot potatoes when the person says this by virtue of experience. Yes, that's why that track record is important. So I don't know if I've lost your question. Could you
No,
please remind me
it's
again?
just you've answered it basically. Having a mentor, a role model who is far and
It
someone,
doesn't make
yeah,
sense. As a young person, there is someone in your circle, in your environment, in your locality. It may be your church, it may be your school, who is a starting point for you, because that person has certain things you admire and want to emulate. So, looking at someone who is far off there,
it's not realizable.
yes, you could be looking at that person too, but you need someone here. Because with time, as you evolve and make progress, you are able to see people. As in, as you evolve and make progress, you're able to, how do I say this? You're able to connect with people at every level of your life. That is why no man is an island. As you evolve, God brings people who match that level of life you are or you found yourself to mentor you. And the process continues up until the perfect day, up until the time you become all that you have been created to be.
Amazing, amazing. I feel this is one conversation we would go on and on because we're delving into now. You know, when I told you she was the perfect guest for this conversation, we started from comfort zone and then we delved into mentorship. We delved into being able to maximize your potentials, thrive in this, you know, start up this, go into this area, and all of that. We also spoke about you being like she said, not just for the young people, because there are old people who feel dead and they've come to their bus stop and then they've stayed there. But this has been an awesome conversation. We really want to thank you for should I say for having us or for gracing our occasion, for honoring our invitation to come.
It's a
I
privilege.
think we can't exhaust this. It is something that as we delve into it time and time again, we'll meet bumps on the road where we need clarity, new challenges, someone say new devils, new, you know, phases in our lives. Stepping out of our comfort zone is it's not just it's not just an obligation, it's a must. It is I don't know. I really lack the word to use. But what would be your last word, your final words on this show?
Okay, my final words on the show would be this: since our topic or our yes our topic of emphasis is the comfort zone, is that, see, the comfort zone, just taking a cue from the quote uh,
Yeah, by
our
John
presenter made
Addison.
earlier, the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. However, when you are able to move, when your courage outweighs the fear, comfort zone is beautiful. However, you need to know that from time to time, your life needs to be, your calm and peaceful life needs to be interrupted with seasons of leaps and jumps. That is how our lives have been wired to be. We were created for adventure. We're not created to lie low, to lie static and our potentials untapped. In exploring or in courageously stepping out, we are able to grow, we are able to access new possibilities, new opportunities, and we are able to maximize our potentials and become all that we have been created to be. So I want to encourage someone out there: step out of your comfort zone. You could start by having a specific thing you want to achieve. You could also start by setting daily tasks. I do that a lot. It has been my practice for years. Every day, I write out the things I need to achieve. If there's a skill I need to achieve, I write them out at the beginning of the year. By the end of this year, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And so my daily tasks are geared towards helping me achieve those things I have written down. It's not too late to start. It's not too late to go back to the drawing board. And it's not too late to become what your world has called you to be. Your world is waiting for you to shine. Thank you.
There's a solution you alone can proffer. If it's not you, no one else can do that. And this is an anonymous quote said, great things never came out of comfort zone. I really want to thank you for the patience. I wish we have a part two of this because someone will be asking, Now I listen to you. I'm following through. But then why are there challenges up and down? I thought that when I do this, I wish we would have a second episode, which of course, if you're glued to the Sorry Negos talk show, either related topics or part two of this, you would come your way on the Sorry Negos talk show. I just want to thank you for being patient as a mentor and as my coach for the period of time where I found me, self-discovery. You mentioned acknowledgement. These are the first phase. You mentioned, okay, willingness to move and all of that. The role of a mentor, guiding your hands from start to, I don't know how to say, till thy kingdom come. But I want to really seize this opportunity to say thank you. I wouldn't be here on this seat. You know how I was crude, I was raw, I was unrefined, I was, oh my God, battered and wounded.
We all were battered, shattered,
I really
scattered.
want to thank you because it's possible. It's just that some people take time, depends on where they
Yes.
are coming from. For you guiding and holding my hands throughout all those phases, I couldn't believe once upon a time I was once, I don't know. Let me know you some adjectives for myself. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you're our host. I'm the host. You're the guests. I'm sorry. Our guest has done justice. I believe. Must have done justice to this topic beyond the bubbles, the unforeseen, the unseen cost of your comfort zone. Donald Neal said something, and I really find it super important to share with all of us. Donald Neal said something about this comfort zone, and I wanted to say it here on the show. Your life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So it's really a hard truth that you've not been living all along. Your life just starts when you step out of your comfort zone. Please stay glued to Sorry Negos talk show, and many of this amazing content will come your way time and time again every month. Please follow us on our social media. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we are on Facebook, and of course we are also on, we're available for sponsorship and for partnership with the Sorry Negos talk show. Till we'll come your way next time. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the new year. Thank you.